All right, here I guess I'm having a really bad delay through here. Welcome to Southern Fried Paranormal, showing on the LFE Radio Facebook page, my own Facebook page, which is the Linda Orman profile, but it's Southern Fried Paranormal Podcast. Also, the Linda Orman page is also being shown on YouTube, which is a CARK, SEARKPS Linda Orman channel. That's my own channel. And of course, it will be shown on delay anytime anybody wants to watch it on most of your favorite podcast channels. Tonight, we're out. Michelle, I hope I get her middle name right. Stelzner Jennings. We'll be talking about Ouija boards, something I have next to no knowledge of. We will be discussing that. I have not touched, as I said in the promo, I have not touched a Ouija board since I was about 10, and being that I will be turning 67 later this year, you can see how long ago it has been since I touched a Ouija board, like half a century. So I'll be picking up a few things tonight. All right, if you got any questions, come to the comment. You can go to the chat room, either on Facebook or YouTube, but we will see it in the comments. Anything else, just contact me an hour later, and we'll figure it out. All right, like I said, we'll have a delay. Everybody knows I live in the country, and the internet is kind of slow. That's why my show is at 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central. But now we're showing at about 7:05, 7:08 Central. Excuse me, Central. 8:05 Eastern. And we go through a Verizon connection, and they are very busy this time of evening. So the show's a little lumpy. It will be a little jerky. There will be, but we carry on. And there's one that's linked on me. So we will continue the best we can. If I disappear, Michelle is gracious enough to keep talking, and I shall return. All right, let's go ahead. Oh, I forgot. How did I forget? If you saw the banners today, you're wondering why the beautiful Michelle Jennings was sitting there in her nice pose in her picture she sent me with the background of baseballs. To my knowledge, she's never played baseball. She can correct me in a few minutes when we bring her out. She strike me as a baseball player. I am a former baseball player, played in my pros over years. And of course, opening day is a holiday. The wife and I, we indulge in chili dogs, and we watch the games. She's currently watching the White Sox play. We watched the Yankees game earlier, and I will be watching after the show tonight, watching the West Coast game to start opening day. Also, while we were watching baseball, or while I was napping or whatever, starting the show, we have had the first indictment of a former president in the United States history. As Donald Trump has been indicted. Now, like him or not, I don't care. I don't develop in politics. One way or the other, I don't think anybody who owns a business or does a show, unless it's a political show, needs to take political sides. But the fact that he was indicted by a grand jury is the first time that's ever happened in our history. So once again, the Chinese curse has affected yours truly, and which is, if you don't know what the Chinese curse is, it says, may you live in interesting times. And this is one of the more interesting times in U.S. history. In my 66 years, I was a baby when Sputnik was launched. I watched the whole space program. I knew what was going on when President Kennedy was shot. I was a big fan of the moon landings and watched it. I watched anything to do with NASA during the moon landing. Saw the shuttles full expanse. And now I've watched, after having a tad bit of input on the space station design. Yes, I knew a few people at NASA. I've seen that go through its life, and it's only going to last 4 or 5 more years at the most. And then we will lose that space station, which I will hate because I'm the one suggested putting the Russian core up there. Anyway, as I said, I've lived in interesting times. But here we go with an interesting show. And Bones, do our Here we go.
Warning: the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Southern Fried Paranormal with Len Dorman featuring Bones. Catch us on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Spreaker, Facebook, Stream, and everywhere else you catch your podcasts. And of course, WLFE-DB.com. Now, from the backwoods of southeast Arkansas, right beside the Bayou Bartholomew, the longest bayou on the planet, broadcasting from downtown metropolitan Cane Creek Township, here is your host, Len Dorman.
South of Star City, Arkansas, and what is kind of called Cane Creek Township. The township exists of two roads. You got about 8 households on this road. The road behind us, about a half a mile, consists of maybe 15 homes, and that is about the extent of it. We have a concrete company. It's about the only business out here in Cane Creek Township. We are kind of squeezed between a lake, a creek, and the longest bayou on the planet, Bartholomew. Of course, a lot of Indians used to go here. Steamboats used to go up and down Bartholomew up to about 1910. Small ones, very small ones, not the big ones that do apply to Mississippi. We're not all that far from the Mississippi, by 25, 30 miles. And just definitely in the Mississippi Delta area of Arkansas, southeast. So that's why the internet is flashing on and off. We don't have cable and satellite. Every time somebody makes a burn and puts a little smoke in the air, that goes wonky. So, here we are working on what we got. So, without further ado, we're going to bring in Michelle Stelzner Jennings, and she can tell me if I'm pronouncing her middle name right. Let her know. Watch her yell at me, okay?
No, I won't yell at you. You did good. It's Michelle Stelzner Jennings. You did good.
I was close.
Close.
I'm just a simple country bumpkin here. You look fabulous tonight. That background blends in with I'm assuming that's a dress or a blouse.
Thank you.
It blends right in with your hair. That is a fabulous background for you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
And you are, yes. We're here. We're live, and you used to be. You're a little bit of background on you. You used to appear as a group.
Yes. Well, I created High Heels and Hauntings. I think it's been about 2, maybe 3 years ago, close to 3 years ago. And when I created High Heels and Hauntings, I thought I was going to be solo doing this. And then I decided to put together a team. So I did. I put together a team of really great people. We investigated together for about 1.5 to 2 years. And I ended up moving recently out of state. And it just was going to be hard to run the team from another state. So they decided to break off and form a different team, which I wish them the best, and I think it's great. And then so now I've decided to just kind of go solo. I'm probably gonna do some investigating solo and maybe do some things with my sister and my mom because they both love to investigate with me. So we've got a bunch of really cool stuff coming up this year that we're going to be doing. And we usually go live on the High Heels and Hauntings Facebook page. So we will be definitely doing that. And we've got some pretty cool stuff coming up. So I'm pretty excited.
Is that the best way to find you on the internet? Just put in High Heels and Hauntings and they'll find your YouTube and Facebook?
Yes, we are on High Heels and Hauntings Facebook. We're also on Instagram and TikTok.
Very good. Of course, we hear a lot about TikTok in the news right now. There's a lot of crazy news. As I said, but you live in interesting times. My sister and I have lived under our separate curses all of our lives. My mother gave my sister the mother curse. Do you know what the mother curse is?
No.
May you have children just like you.
Yeah. You're
And
right, though.
my sister ended up. Mhm.
We
My
keep going
sister
through.
ended up with two kids. Go ahead.
I was just saying, we keep living through crazy things over the past few years, and it's just nothing surprising me anymore. It's just constantly something new and crazy.
Yeah, there's no need to be surprised anymore.
No.
I was going to say my sister ended up with two kids exactly like her, and I ended up in my age looking at almost looks like once a week. I'm watching history being made on television.
Yeah. Yep. We're becoming numb to things
And by the
now.
way, yes, yes, we are. I must say, you have got a face for television.
Oh, well,
I
thank
have a
you.
face for radio.
No.
You look fabulous back that background. Everything blends in. I'm really enjoying the background. All right,
Thank you.
let's talk a little bit about your past and how you got started in the paranormal.
Okay.
And then we can start talking about Ouija boards, which is something I've had a lot of guests that won't touch them
Yes.
at all. And as I brought up in the intro, I have not touched a Ouija board since I was at least 10 at the oldest, and maybe 7, 8, 9, maybe more like it. I don't remember. It's kind of hard to remember back that far. So it's been 50 years or more since I've touched a Ouija board, and I don't remember anything about it.
Sure.
So go ahead and talk a little bit about how you got to this.
Okay. Well, probably as most people who are in the paranormal, it started at a young age, of course. We all have something that happens to us that makes us become curious about the other side, and we tend to go in this direction. When I was probably about, I would say 6 years old, we lived in an older home in Indiana, and I saw a lady come out of a wall, walk down the hallway, go into the kitchen. And when you're a child, you don't know that it's a ghost. I thought it was my mother. So I got up
Right.
and I followed her into the kitchen, watched her just disappear into the wall. And still as a child, you're sitting there going, why did my mom go into a wall? It wasn't until you get a little bit older that you realize that was something paranormal. But I did have other experiences after that just kept happening. And then as I got older, I realized I was experimenting paranormal. I can pick up on things. If I go into a place, I feel a certain way. If I'm in a place that's got some spirits, and I just never knew exactly what was going on. And then I started finding out probably in my 30s that there are paranormal people and teams that go out and investigate. And I had no clue other than TV that actual people do this. So I became really intrigued with that. I joined a team just to get an idea what this was about, to get some experience, start learning how to use equipment, how to book places to go investigate. And then I decided that I kind of have my own style of investigating. And so I decided to break off and start my own team. And I'm kind of a girly girl. I tell everybody that I'm pretty girly girl. So I wanted something that represented myself. So if you go look at my logo, it's my sister actually designed my logo for me because she knows how I am. And It's a girl standing in a grave, and she's kind of standing there leaning out, trying to figure out what mischief she wants to get into that evening, what hauntings she wants to go to. And so that's kind of where that came from. And then so I started investigating. Like I said, put together a team of great people. But then I moved out of state recently. And so now I'm kind of starting over again, solo on my own now. But like I said, we got a lot of really great stuff coming up this year. And looking forward to getting that all out there for everybody. But I love the paranormal. I love investigating.
Okay. So I mean, and I believe you said there's no hard feelings between you and your former group as they split off themselves when you went out of state.
Oh, no, not at all. Nope, they've created a team, and they're great people. And if you go to High Heels and Hauntings, they're on there as well. You can go and follow them. They're called the Ghost Whisperers. And I wish no hard feelings at all. I had to move out of state, and they were completely understanding of that. And we'll probably collab together sometime.
Oh, that's cool. That's the kind of when people break up for various reasons. That's the kind of story I enjoy hearing myself.
Yeah, because you
just don't hear it that often.
No, you do hear quite often about people falling out, teams falling apart, and no, it was just a circumstance where I moved away, and they were all very, they're supportive, and I support them, and so yeah.
Yeah. The Zach Bagans mess now is an example of a team breaking up and the egos getting in the way, and that's a crazy situation, which I'm not taking sides in. I have met any of that group personally, so I'm just shaking my head and feeling paranormal with that drama. You've got a great story there, so I appreciate you sharing it.
Oh, sure. And then,
but you said you like to use a Ouija board. Yeah,
I do. I know that makes a lot of people cringe, but yes, I do.
Like I said, I don't know much about it, so I don't fool with it because I would be bound to make a mistake. And a mistake with a Ouija board can be, well, let's say it could cause issues. So if you can explain how you can use one without causing issues, where somebody like me uses one could cause issues. So if you can explain that, please.
Well, I guess if you start thinking about a Ouija board, in my opinion, is no different than using any other device to communicate with the other side. We do EVP recordings. We use a spirit box. You're still asking questions and having them answer questions. With the Ouija board, in my opinion, you're just giving them a different outlet, a different tool to use to be able to speak to you from the other side. And I think we lost him, so I'm supposed to keep talking. And the Ouija board, I know it intimidates a lot of people. People get a little nervous about using a Ouija board, and I think that's because during the 1970s, when horror movies were coming out about people being possessed, and Ouija boards somehow or another just got a really bad name in these movies and stories being passed down. The Ouija board is actually really old. It dates back to the late 1800s. When it was created, it wasn't created with any type of rules or how to use it. People just started playing with it and figuring it out on their own. There is no right way and wrong way to use a Ouija board. You just, find people that you do trust to use the Ouija board with, because people can manipulate the planchette and move it around. Usually you can pick up on that if someone in your group is doing that. But for the most part, you just pick a good group of people to sit down with and ask your questions. sometimes the Ouija board won't move at all. It'll just sit there. Sometimes it's very active. You get a lot of responses. To me, that's very exciting because I love getting responses from the other side, and I tend to get more results with a Ouija board than I do any other type of equipment. I do like to do EVP recordings as well. I'm kind of old school with investigating. I'm not really into all the fancy gadgets that are out there. I know a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff out there, and I'm just more less is more kind of thing. So I'm really into just Ouija boards, EVPs, your senses, video, and those kind of things. But yeah, so the Ouija board, and I understand a lot of people are afraid to use it, but I also think too, if you look at it as it's just another form of communication with the other side, that might help a little bit.
Okay. What kind of investigation? Where have you been, basically?
Yeah, we've
the
been
past
to.
year or so. Can you name
Yeah,
any location, or is it private?
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Oh, I said, or were you at public locations, or was it private? Because we shouldn't talk about private investigations here.
We haven't
But
done too many.
were you in public places that you can talk about?
Yes, I've been to many public places. I have done a few private investigations, have done a few homes, private homes, and then I've been to a lot of places publicly. Been to the Hinsdale House in New York, Monroe House in Indiana, Hinsdale, Wildwood Sanitarium, which is one of my favorite places to go. Old Blackford County Jail, Stone Mansion, and then the Ura Shrine, which is in Bristol, Tennessee. So I've been to quite a few places. I would say probably the scariest place that I have been is the Monroe House in Indiana. I'm not sure if you do you investigate yourself?
Oh yes, I'm like you. I'm a lone wolf. I've been down here in southeast Arkansas in the Bible Belt, and there's no church in this county who wants me to attend it. A ghost hunter, and of course, unfortunately or fortunately, I did a very public investigation of the county courthouse. Star City is the county seat of Lincoln County, and I investigated that. And I was not even really moved into our house at the time, and I didn't realize the person who was letting me go in there. I thought it was going to be me, her daughter, maybe a friend or two. No, there was about 15, 18 people, the one in the courthouse, and her daughter. And so it was a very public investigation, and people still talk about that. And that was 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So it was known that I was a paranormal investigator. So and nobody even wants to really discuss the paranormal here. So I've got no team. I am by myself. The wife will come to a site and watch my back unless it's investigating all night, where she just goes to sleep.
Have you heard of the Monroe House?
But so I don't mean. Yes. Yes, I have. Have you heard of the Allen House in Monticello?
I have heard of that. Now, where is that located?
Monticello, Arkansas.
Okay. No, I have heard of it, but I haven't gotten out that way.
All the shows have been there. I believe Zach's group's been there. Ghost Adventures. I think Ghost Hunters from Sci-Fi was there, and the Ghost Brothers did with their actual premiere show. Their first season was the Allen House episode, and you can walk out my front door and travel about 30 miles, maybe 38 miles, well, about 35 miles, and you're standing on the front porch of the Allen house. Basically, if I do a tad bit of speeding on the highway, I can get there in about 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll have to make it out there sometime.
It's a very good place to investigate. It's an expensive place to go into. So have maybe your old team come with you to help pay for that expense. You'll have to talk to theallenhouse.com and make arrangements. But you're looking at I think it's $700 or $800 for an online investigation. It's a rather expensive place, but it is there. So they what they do, they take the money and put it back in the house, do a little painting, a little maintenance, because he's just a professor at the local college, and that house is very high, which a lot of people don't realize. When people shouldn't charge for you to investigate a location, when you've got a house, especially just the Allen house or the house you're talking about, there's maintenance involved. You got to keep a roof on it. You've got to paint the walls. You got to pay for the electricity, and there's expenses involved, and that's not. You got to pay property taxes. If you own the place, you pay property taxes, or you're paying rent, and you're basically in your rent, you're paying property taxes, and that's why I don't complain too much about places. Waverly Hills, I think, is over $1,000 for a team if you want to go in. But there's maintenance there. If they don't keep a good roof over, the place is going to rot and fall down, and nobody be able to enjoy it. So I don't fault people charge.
Yeah, that's the only negative thing about being solo. You have to pay for locations on your own, and it can get expensive. Whereas when you have a team, everybody splits it up, so it's a little bit easier. So it kind of changes some of the places that you can investigate. But also, I looking to collab with other people too. I've got some collaborations coming up with some teams, and that kind of helps. But yeah, it can get pretty expensive when you're solo.
Yes, it can. Now, when you go into a location, let's say it's public or private, either way, how do you bring a Ouija board into your investigation? How do you do that?
Well, my Ouija board is usually always with me. It's usually always in my truck. Like right now it's here. But most of the time I will take it with me, but I always ask permission first. I'm always very respectful because some places don't. A lot of places I go already have Ouija boards in them. If they're a public place, then a lot of times they have their own Ouija boards that you can use. But I always ask and get permission first. Private investigations, like someone's home, I tend to not even really ask because they're already reaching out to you for help anyway. And they might think that you're bringing something in by bringing a Ouija board into their home. So I tend to not use those at a private investigation, but public ones, like I said, most of the time they're already there at the location.
Okay. And how do you get it started? Do you start with a prayer, or you just go right into it? Do you have crystals or something that you start with? Without starting one, let's not go there. But just tell me real quick, how do you do that? Because I don't know.
Well, there's not really a saying that you do. I know people that do use Ouija boards have some type of thing that they do, I believe, before they start. We usually open the board up, and then you want to make sure that you close the board out so that you can let the spirits know that you are finished communicating with them, and they're done communicating with you. So you want to make sure you close it out. And everybody that uses Ouija boards, I think, has a different way that they close and open their Ouija boards. I tend to go clockwise 3 times to open mine, counterclockwise 3 times to close. But like I said, different people have different techniques they use. Like I said, when they created the Ouija board, there were no rules. There were no instructions on how to use it. There was no right way or wrong way to open or close or to use it. They just said, here you go, use it. So I think people just create their own things that they do with it.
And then what do you if you're by yourself, how do you use your fingers on the board?
You can use a Ouija board by yourself. Yes. You just as if you have a group of people, you're gonna put your tips of your fingers on the planchette, and you can ask the questions and use the Ouija board on your own. There are a lot of people who won't do a Ouija board by themselves. Even people that use a Ouija board still won't do one alone by themselves. Some people get too nervous to do that.
And then you just ask yes or no questions or things that it's easy to spell out?
Yeah, as the Ouija board has letters in it,
So
it has to know.
Right.
Yep. So I usually
it's kind of like using a ghost box. You're saying, who am I speaking to, or
exactly.
You just call out like you're, the spirit that hangs around this place. Let's say Bob. That's a common name, and I don't know a ghost named Bob. But if you want to contact Bob at a location, what do you do?
Well, what I normally do is if I know any history first on the place, if you find out names ahead of time, you can use those names in your Ouija board session. You can ask if that person is here, if they can say yes or no. A lot of times I ask them to spell their name out for me, and they try to spell their names. It takes a while sometimes for them to figure out how to manipulate the board, but once they get it, they start communicating. You can ask them their age with the numbers, and then you can start asking them the yes or no questions, pretty much exactly like you would if you were doing a spirit box or an EVP session.
Oh, okay. And then you just kind of feed questions into it. Do you ask verbally? You don't have to spell out your questions, I hope. That could be a long time. You just
that would take a while.
Ask your questions.
Yeah, you just verbally ask because if they're in the room with you, they'll hear you asking the questions. Sometimes I have been in a Ouija board session where the planchette just kind of takes over and it's telling you what you want to hear and not the questions that you're asking. But most of the time, it is just answering the questions that you ask.
Okay. Although I'd like to say hello to Pam Harris. I believe she's a friend of yours. She says, hi, Michelle. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
There she is.
Hi, Pam. I am here at a location that.
What's
can you hear me?
When you go in there and you've made contact? Oh yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay.
But when you go into a location and you made contact, you ask the questions verbally, and you let the planchette, am I pronouncing that right? I hope. Answer the questions either by spelling it out or the yes or no is the board.
Yes.
And what do you write down? Maybe a question that you wanted to ask, and just get you a legal pad. I want to ask this question, and then you put the answer down below it, or do you just use a voice recorder? Because I would get confused. I'll be sitting there forgetting the question I asked, and my short-term memory sucks. But I would have to
Usually
write down the question, maybe write them down beforehand what I'm going to ask.
you could do that. I do run an EVP recorder at the same time because I have had answers come across the recorder, and you can verify that with your answers on the Ouija board. Hi, Pam. I am actually here where you've seen the Ghost Sisters quite often. I am here at the Ura Shrine right now, in Bristol, Tennessee, which is a really great location.
Oh, by
But
the
yeah,
way, since you're in Tennessee, are you familiar with the biker girl there that has a location there in Tennessee?
who is that? What's the name?
I'm trying to think of what her real name is. She's a ghost biker.
No, I haven't heard
She's
of
in
that.
East Tennessee.
No,
Okay.
I'm new.
She's
I'm
got
new.
her and her partner. Okay, look them up. She's not that far from you. They have a haunted jail, and they
Okay.
do open it up for investigations. That's a place you could go. That's it's fairly cheap. It's not expensive. She just had this weekend. She had a small Paracon at that location.
Okay.
She's a very, very nice, younger, in my book anyway, younger woman. She's worked with that Destination Fear up on that. That I'll be advertising for in a few minutes. We got to break away for,
Okay.
have a little bit of advertising. She is an outstanding person, paranormal, and somebody you probably get along with very well. So
Okay.
try
Yeah,
to find
nothing.
her. If I get a link, I'll send it to you on Facebook.
Yeah, I'd like that. Thank you.
Okay, Pam Harris is throwing up some more stuff here. We want to cover her.
She says she recognized.
She recognized your location. Okay, and now we got somebody else, Mandy.
Hi, Mandy. Yeah, Mandy is the ambassador for the Ura Shrine, so she's here quite often.
Oh, very good. So we do have a little bit of audience. While we've got a kind of a break before I ask another question, we're kind of further little commercials. I'll keep your mic open if you want to comment on anything that's shown. Go ahead, because a lot of it's verbal. I have to talk through.
Okay.
There is one video that I'll be showing, but a lot of it is this right here. This is a Paraflix
Okay.
show Expedition Entity. Dan Norval, which is in the center of this photo here, he has worked with, I believe it was Ghost Check on a couple of documentaries that she has appeared on Paraflix in Expedition Entity. So she's pretty well known in paranormal. The lady I was talking about. Expedition Entity is showing Broadhead Manor investigation they did there on Paraflix. There is a feed for Paraflix. It comes over your TV. It's like having any of the other different channels, Roku or Netflix or any of the others. So it costs a little bit of money. But if you're really into the paranormal, that's a show to look up. Is Expedition Entity. They are friends of the show here several times. And they're a fun group of people. They got a Paracon coming up. You can see some of the guests here. If you really want to look at all the guests, I'm not going to take the time to read them all. But that is that spring that's coming up pretty doggone quick. What is the date on that thing? I can't read it. My old
April
eyes.
22nd.
Yeah, that's a little less than a month away. So that's something they're having. and I recommend going there. It's a good flick. This is something else they're having at Broadhead Manor. Only there it is, right there. The 22nd, it's a 1-day Paracon, 10 to 6. You can meet the people of Expedition Entity, and right there in a haunted location. Going to a 1-day Paracon in a haunted location is not a bad deal at all. Especially coming in somebody with the quality of person that Dan Norville is. He's a great guy. I have all the respect for him in the world. Here's one coming up: the Great Lakes Paranormal Conference. Some people have that are going there that live in the Northwest. Well, not the far Northwest, the upper Midwest, let's say. The Great Lakes Paranormal Conference, September 22nd through the 24th. You can see who's going to be there. Pretty good lineup at the old Glenborough School, which is also quite haunted. Oh, I did not tell you that I investigated in Chicago and lived there for 14 and a half years. So I have a lot of people in the upper Midwest area.
Oh, I bet you've been to some really interesting locations.
And since I came down here, I've been down here in Arkansas for 7 years, and I'm only 6 hours going the speed limit from Bourbon Street. So yes, I have investigated 2 of the great places, Savannah being another one, of 2 of the great cities for paranormal, and that's being Chicago and New Orleans.
I love New Orleans. Yes.
And oh yeah, I've been in some very haunted places in New Orleans. Got some scares.
I did Myrtle's Plantation.
Do what?
I went to Myrtle's Plantation last year, and I just went by myself and stayed at Myrtle's Plantation and did some investigating there. I didn't get any.
I went to Oak Alley on a public investigation during the daytime, and I got interesting results. Not even trying.
Oh.
There's quite a few people, of course, dead there with a building that's been there over 100 years. And I plan to go back because there's a plantation there that they actually rent out some of the outbuildings, and you can stay in those outbuildings overnight, and they don't care if you investigate the grounds. You can't go into the mansion itself. That's locked.
That's how Myrtle's
Plantation. But
you can stay. They built on, they call them carriage houses that they built on to the property. So I stayed in one of the carriage houses because it's more expensive to stay in the actual big house. And they allow you to investigate. So I just stayed up during the night and investigated around on the front porches and around the grounds. And that was really nice. Now, where's this place that you're talking about? Because I love plantations. Where was this one?
I think it was Oak Alley or one of the other plantations right outside Chicago. I don't have the information in front of me.
Okay.
But that's a fun place to go. Let me do one more commercial thing, and this is a video. Fairfest 23, Riverside 10, at the New York State. was Vincent, who is the originator of WLFEDB radio. That is his little Paracon up in New York State. So if you're in that area, please go see there. It's got a great lineup. And Psychic Cindy is also a friend of the show. She's been here before. She is a fantastic person if you want to stop by with her. Now, let's get back to, I've got a fantastic person right here next to me. Right, there we go. Right there. So once you get started, you contacted, how long do you normally do a session? Once you've got the spirit talking to you and answering your questions, how long do you usually go? Do you just go a few minutes and break it off, or do you just talk as long as they're communicating? And how can you tell the difference?
It kind of depends on the location that you're at. Each one is different. And you don't get to necessarily pick and choose who it is that you speak to at the location. You might be trying to contact, like, say you go to a location, and we'll use Bob again. Bob had passed away there. And so you're trying to communicate with Bob, and you're trying to validate that it's Bob. So you ask Bob to spell his name. Well, Bob spells George. So then you realize, okay, well, I'm not speaking with Bob, I'm speaking with George. So sometimes you'll have a lot of entities that kind of fight almost, if you're lucky, to get the attention, and they're coming on. So you might have a long session. It could be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, just depends if you have a lot of entities. Thank you, Ghost Sisters. If you have a lot of entities coming on and trying to communicate, then your session can last longer. There, I have locations I've been to where you're trying to communicate with someone and they're a little shy, or they just aren't familiar with using the board. So it takes them a while to get the hang of it. You have to kind of walk them through it, tell them, these are the letters, these are the numbers, this is yes and no. And sometimes you have people just don't want to communicate at all. You try for about maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And if no one wants to come through, then you usually just stop stop your Ouija board session, close it out, and maybe try again later in the evening and see if someone else wants to come through and communicate. So I guess it just depends on locations. It can be anywhere from 10 minutes to 45 minutes.
Oh, okay. If that nothing, you just go try a ghost box session or investigate.
Yep.
What do you normally investigate with when you have you just go to ghost box sessions? What else do you use?
Well, like I said, I'm kind of old school, so I tend to use. I'll go to. I like to do my EVP recordings. I really love to do those. I think that's probably, other than the Ouija board, my other favorite way to investigate, because you do sometimes get some things that come back that you can only hear through the voice recording, that you don't hear with your ears. So that's kind of fun when you get something that comes across, and I feel like you can't dispute that if there isn't anything else that could contaminate it. And I like evidence that is there. You can't dispute that. Video, I love to set up video cameras and just record, taking lots of photos. We have used other equipment, of course, spirit boxes. I'm not really good with the spirit box. I'll even admit that. I know some people are really good at picking out spirit speaking as opposed to radio frequencies coming through, but I don't trust myself completely. So I'm not that great at spirit boxes, but we do use SLS camera. And again, with that, you have to be careful, because the SLS sometimes will map out a chair or, something like that. So you just have to be really careful with that. So yeah, like, I'm kind of old school. I don't use a whole lot of fancy equipment, but I will try out some of them. Yes.
Okay. I'd like to say hello to everybody that's in the chat rooms, mostly Facebook here. Pam Harris, the Ghost Sisters. Ghost Sisters is somebody I'd love to have on the show because I watch their show. Do a very fun show. They are great. Have some great broadcasts where they do a live investigation. So my hat's off to the Ghost Sisters. They do a fantastic job.
Ghost Sisters are great.
I
have investigated with them.
Yes,
yeah, I have investigated with them, and
they are. Wow.
Yes, I'm actually, Mandy is with Ghost Sisters, and I'm at the location that she is at quite often, and she is the ambassador for the Euro Shrine. So that's where I'm at tonight. And I have investigated here with her.
Of course, you got Pam. Of course, you got Pam Harris and Lori Bragg in here.
Hi,
so,
Lori.
Hello, everybody. Appreciate y'all watching the show, and glad to say hello in the chat room. Okay, here's another post, and yep, there she is, confirming what you said. Now, while they're listening to me, I think the world of the Ghost Sisters, and anytime we can get together so we can talk about on my show is fine. You're welcome here as a guest anytime you want. If you want to talk about investigation, or if you're having Paracon or something, I'd love to have you on. So anyway, you've opened the board. You've got little or nothing. So you close the board down. How you spin the planchette with your hand counterclockwise? That's your way of closing it. Do you tell them you can't come through closing the door, or how do you do that?
Well, if I feel, they usually will let you know too, if you can tell that they're getting to where they no longer want to communicate with you. So when you close down the board, you're also telling them at the same time, thank you for speaking with me. I appreciate it. We're closing the board out now, so we won't be communicating anymore through this device. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach out to me through another device that we'll be using. But you usually know when the spirits are, either you're not getting anything at all, so you close it down, or you can tell that the spirits are starting to slack off a little bit. So and a lot of times they'll tell you. I've had spirits go to the no. When you say, do you want to continue to speak with me? They'll no. And then you're like, okay. And you respect that, and you thank them, and you close out the board.
Okay. Oh, on this, what you're talking about, I can see that, because you heard me mention earlier, Alan and Monticello here in Arkansas, the main spirit there, Adele Allen, she tired out very quickly, and she will tell you, I need to go, or just something else where it indicates. She uses a different word, but she'll basically the communication's over. Because when she says, I'm ready to rest, or I'm tired, that is all she says. She's gone for a while, and maybe gone for the night. So I can see where that would happen also with another spirit at another location, where they just said, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, because they have to use energy.
And I gather that you've heard this. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. We have a question here, I think. I saw a question mark on this post. What's your favorite Ouija board to use? This is from the Ghost Sisters.
Well, I only have one Ouija board, and it's the Ouija board that I think, Mandy, you saw my Ouija board, I think, at the Euro Shrine. I have it. I don't know. I can turn the camera. I'm not sure if you can see it up here. I'm trying to. Yep, there it is back there. That's the Ouija board up here with the face on it. So he's kind of up there hanging out right now. But that's the one that I use at all my locations. I haven't really gotten any other Ouija boards because I tend to be attached to this Ouija board. I know some people don't really like to have spirits attached to their board. I do. I feel like I have some spirits attached to my board, and so I don't want to use a different board. I like my board, and so yep, the same one, Mandy.
Okay. You have somebody from Manchester, England watching us. Virgil, hello, Virgil.
Hi, Virgil.
And,
Thanks, Virgil.
Virgil says, boy, is she cute. Okay. Okay. Here's a question from Pam Harris. What is your favorite room at the shrine? I believe that's your current locations at the shrine, right?
Yes. That's without a doubt, the Covenstead is my favorite room at the shrine, which is where I'm sitting now. This is the Covenstead. I wish I could show it to you. It's just absolutely beautiful room here at the shrine. The shrine has several rooms here. It's kind of hard to pick a favorite because they're all pretty amazing, but this one I'm kind of partial to. It's a Covenstead built for witches. So it's a beautiful coven. And then there is also what is called the dragon table here. And I think it weighs like 6,000 pounds. This table, it's made with concrete and wood.
Wow.
It has dragons going in and out of it, fire. It's pretty magnificent. And they call that the portal table. There is also a cave here that you can go into. It's like a grotto. And they kind of do the yin and yang in there. So they have a hot tub on one side, a cold pool on the other. It's pretty interesting, pretty cool. And then outside on the grounds, they have, there's a lot of Japanese Shinto here. And then also there's just a beautiful, the cave. There's also a really large bamboo forest or Tengu forest here as well, which is very magical.
Okay. We have one more question. I believe it's the Ghost Sisters. What kind of things have you experienced at your shrine?
Let's see. So I've experienced hearing voices here at the Ura Shrine. I've heard people talking. I heard a young girl talking, and they weren't there. Lights going off. I think Kalani, if you've heard of Kalani, I think he did a live TikTok here, and he had bulbs going out on command for him. I've seen that a lot. Lights go out constantly here at the shrine. I've seen shadows moving around. You think someone's coming into the room and realize there's nobody there. It was obviously a shadow that walked in. It's a pretty neat location, quite active.
Okay. Do you ever
experiences too?
Use seances?
Yes, we have done some seances. I actually did a seance with Ghost Sisters here at the Ura Shrine at the Dragon Table.
Okay, that's interesting. One person experience I had with doing a seance, we got interrupted. The house had boiler. So if you've ever been in a place with a boiler heat, you hear when you first cut it on or cut it off, you got that bang, bang, bang as the radiators either heat up or cool down.
Yes.
When they change temperatures. Middle of the seance, all of a sudden, just bang, 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 with the heat. And okay, the guy had heat on it just at the wrong time in the middle of the seance. And we did as best we could. But later, when everybody who was involved in the seance left, I was already a video guy, and the guy who was running the seance and the manager of the location was just the three of us. I said, "Yeah, we had a great time," because he was asking us, of course, you have a good time. And I said, except that when you cut the heat on or cut it off, it came at the wrong time. We were in the middle of a seance, and all of a sudden, all the radiators started banging. He looked at me real funny and said, "I didn't turn the heat on tonight.
Oh,
All day. I didn't touch it. I wasn't even here.
wow.
It was warm enough." And I looked at the guy who was running the seance. I said, and the three of us went to our separate cars and left that place.
Oh, no.
What? Because that was totally unexplainable. Because the heat didn't come on. He had it turned slam off. It was not thermostat operated or anything. So there was no explanation. Heat radiators. So we decided, and the three of us left in a pretty good hurry. Ghost Sister said yes, it was awesome. Virtual
Yes,
King
Virgil.
said and was detained mental hospital. And Virgil also says, "I love you guys." I'm assuming you're talking about the Ghost Sisters and all the lovely ladies who are talking in the room tonight, especially my guest Michelle. But you said you close out. How do you end the night when you've had one? And say goodbye again, or how many times do you try with the Ouija board on an investigation before you say this is not working?
Usually I just try one time. If most of the time when you open up the Ouija board and you start communicating, you do your session and then you're done for the night. But if I start in the beginning and I'm not getting any communication, then I may try again later on in the evening, just to see if somebody wants to come through. And if they do, then I'll do a session. If not, then I just close it back out again.
Okay. You ever use divining rods?
Yes. And sometimes those are good.
The pendulum?
If you have somebody, we've actually done Ouija board sessions where we had one person using dowsing rods and another person doing an EVP recording, and we'll video it. And it's nice to see if the dowsing rods are answering yes or no along with the Ouija board and the EVP sessions. And it's nice when you have all three to validate at the same time and have it on video. So we have done that before on investigations.
Oh, okay. We have another question in the chat room from Virgil. Are angels good people who go to heaven like saints? I guess he's saying he's new to this.
Are angels? I'm not sure. I guess it's all in interpretation of angels, I suppose, in heaven. Not sure. Sorry, Virgil.
Yeah, my interpretation has always been that some people have
That's what
angels
we're
look over
taught.
them, some don't. He said that was a typo. But if you believe in God, you believe in Jesus, angels exist.
Yep,
Angels
that's
exist
exactly
in the
right.
Muslim religion.
Yeah.
They exist. Angels exist in the Jewish religion. So in most of your major religions, worldwide religions, there are angels.
Yes.
So, and Quran teaches, in the Old Testament especially, the Old Testament is just an interpretation of the Jewish holy book anyway. So you've got the Jewish holy book, you've got a lot of from the Quran in the Bible. They kind of add to each other, telling a lot of the same stories, especially the Old Testament. So yeah, the angels exist in all of it. So yeah, if you believe in you believe in any form of God, you got to believe in angels because there it is from your holy book.
Yes.
And sometimes they will help you out if you are doing, if you're having an out of body experience. I don't know if you've had any experience with that or not. Have you had any experience with uh, out of body experiences at all?
No, nothing like that.
Some people have. He has straightened out his question here. Maybe we can get it. Sorry, my question was, where do angels come from? I think I may have answered that.
Yeah.
That if you believe there is a God, then you have to believe in angels. So I think it's just my personal opinion that angels do exist, and if you're in this business long enough and you get in trouble deep enough that sometimes an angel's got to come around and help you out. It's one thing about some of the shows, they go into demonology, they go into possessions. If you believe in demons, then you got to believe in angels, and you got to believe in God, because without God, there is no angels, there's no demons, and so does God. That's what the Bible says. Again, if you're a Christian or a Muslim, yes, they are with God. I don't know about Michelle's personal religious beliefs. I know she's kind of dropping out of the conversation right now. But that's my personal belief.
Yeah. Now, what you believe, what you're taught, what your belief is, then yes, I would say that if you believe in God, then you believe in heaven. Then, of course, there would be angels, and yes.
Mm-hmm. He
Yep,
says he's a Catholic.
Yep, Catholic.
Catholics have about as right as anybody else. It says in the Bible, "No man shall have all knowledge," and you're also supposed to see the face of God in His original form, true form, and you don't see angels in their true form. That's in the Bible. So if you believe everything the Bible says, then you've got to take that as that's the gospel truth, literally.
Yes.
So him being a Catholic, I think they've got it right as anybody. Nobody has it perfect because we're not supposed to know everything.
That's
right. One of the mysteries of God. So
yes.
there's my preaching. You gone from the South. In the past, I was raised in Georgia, lived in Chicago 14 and a half years, and now I'm living in the what some people consider the deep South in southeast Arkansas, but where I was born in Columbus, Georgia, is further south than here. Here we're about the same latitude as Atlanta. So actually, I was born. You got to go down to about Shreveport to be as far south as I was actually born, just in a different state. I used to live in that same latitude. Virgil has another question. Shreveport, really? Shreveport's not that far from here. Virgil wants to, so go ahead. Virgil, ask your question. And we'll cover it as best we can so as it pops up. But have you got anything you want to say about your Ouija board sessions? You close them out when you're done. I'm assuming you said you do some kind of prayer or some kind of saying or cleansing when you leave a place, correct?
When I leave a location, like a haunted location.
Yes.
I do not. I know some people do when they go to a location or when they leave a location. I do not. Sometimes I will I will, well, not sometimes. I always thank the spirits for allowing me to communicate or to be with them that evening. And sometimes I do tell them, that I would appreciate it if they don't follow me home, but that's about it. I don't really do any kind of sayings or prayers or anything.
I found that when I started living in Bachelor's Grove Cemetery, you've probably heard of Bachelor's Grove Cemetery. It's one of the most haunted acres in the United States. And a lot of people's list to go investigate in, and I used to investigate there. Sometime I counted one time I was there once summer, spring, 10 days in a row. I was there. And I found out pretty quickly that I had to say a prayer and tell the spirits they could not follow me home, because if I didn't tell them they couldn't, a couple of them did.
Yeah.
Okay, now Virgil has got his question. So let's see what it is. Jesus said, when he was on the cross, why didn't God stop it?
This
Boy, that is a question. That's beyond my pay grade. I've never been to seminary school. I got a friend here that he went to college to an offline or online or one of those schools you sign up for, and he could teach Bible class. Let's say if he was here, he is not. John is a friend of mine. We go to the local pool together. I would ask him that question, and he would be much more qualified to answer than I would, because he is qualified to teach Bible class. So that's just that's beyond my pay grade. And Pam kind of answers it this way: I gave the only begotten Son for our sins. So yes, that kind of answers that question. And he says, sorry, buddy, never understood that. I don't either, but we are only human.
Mm-hmm.
And humans are not meant to know everything, as I stated earlier, and we're not meant to understand everything. I'm sure with our technology, we like to think we can understand everything, but we are not meant to understand it. Religious philosophy. It says that in the Bible, and so I don't try. If somebody wants to theorize on it, that's fine. I got my own theories. I could be right. They could be right. Both of us could be wrong. I don't know, and we're not meant to know.
That's right. Yeah.
So we all find out. The one thing we have in common, we all find out when we die.
Yes.
We all, sooner or later, we find out. Now, I don't know how much later you want to go. We've gone over the hour.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's been great.
We're 15 minutes over that.
Yeah, I've enjoyed being here tonight. Thank you for having me on. And
thank you for being here. It's been a great time. Is there anything else you would like to say to everyone?
Sure. No, just thank you for tuning in. Like I said, oh, no problem, Virgil. Sorry, I just didn't want to answer and say something maybe wrong about that. But definitely follow your Catholic faith and talk to your priest. Sometimes too, they can answer those questions pretty good for you. And I just want to say thank you for watching tonight, Virgil. Thank you, Pam, Mandy. Got some great investigations coming up soon. I'm going to be doing some stuff with my mom and sister in Florida. We're going to be doing some stuff in St. Augustine, Florida. and a couple other little surprises thrown in there. And then I've got some private investigations I'll be doing alone by myself. And then Lynn, if you could send me that link to the other place, I'd be interested in that. But yeah, so just stay tuned.
I will send it to you on Facebook Messenger. A lot of people talk bad about Facebook, but it is one of the best communications devices there is.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
That's what it was designed to, and I use it for. Okay. Pam Harris says one more thing here. Virgil says, thanks so much. You're welcome. And you be with Jesus eternity. I will add one more thing to our little religious discussion. My nose is trying to run again. That it says a lot of people get mad at the Jews because it says in the Bible, Jews are the only ones that's God's chosen people, and they are the ones that go to God, where Christians only go to Jesus Christ the Son. And I think that's why a lot of people are mad at the Jews, because they get to go to God. We've got to go to Jesus, and whatever you want to believe. If you want to go to God, go to the Jewish religion. So, like I say, so with that little opinion being down, I've got nothing against Jews. That's just what I just said is flat in the Bible that the Jews are God. And of course, they are God's chosen people. That was done thousands of years ago, and I'm not going to argue with it. So, if you got anything else to say,
Yep, that's it.
I will contact you if you're going to any Paracon, or you're going to do a public investigation or something. Let me know. Shoot me a video. 15, 20 second, 30-second video. I'll be glad to air it during my little ad section. No problem at all. And I'd love to have you on here again, because you put out quite a bit of information about the Ouija board. If you wanted to get crazy one time, maybe later this year, if you want to get absolutely crazy, we could, if you wanted to, have somebody with you, and we can do a live on the internet Ouija board session.
Sure. Okay, that sounds good.
Which that would be entertaining. I think you would have to put your camera at a different angle. I'm not sure how you could do that, but it would be interesting to try, because that's one thing I've never seen on a live show.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
I really appreciate you. You've been a fantastic guest. We will have you back again.
Thank
so if
you.
there's anything I can do for you, please do not hesitate to ask.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And good luck with anything you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night. All right. That's it for the show tonight. I'm not going to. We've had Virgil says he is. See you soon. And Cam here says much love. All right. We are going to go ahead and go on. I've got some stuff to do tonight. It is opening night for baseball. Virgil wants some more of Michelle. She will be back. I'm not sure when. She is a very nice person, a very, very beautiful person inside and out. So we will have her back on the show at a later time. But I've got a lot more guests coming up. I've got next month pretty well booked already. So I'll be booking for, let's see, what's the next month? April? I will be booking for May. So if anybody wants to be on the show, we can talk about May, because I think I've got maybe one date, I don't recall right now, open April, but maybe the last Thursday. but mainly I'll be booking for May at the current, right now that I can remember currently. All right, we're going to go ahead and end the show tonight. Appreciate everybody watching. We still got 4 people watching. It's a little bit shorter show tonight. It's definitely early. Thank you, Ted, for allowing us to come on early and for our East Coast guests in consideration so she can go ahead and go to bed her normal time instead of having to stay up really late. And I want to thank all of our people who asked questions tonight. Virgil, the Ghost Sisters, Sarah. So thank you all for watching the show. Thank you for your questions. Makes it an interesting show when you get interactive like this. We really haven't talked to Bones yet tonight. You got anything to say? Nothing to say there with Bones? Okay. All right. Bones doesn't have anything to say. But I think he's willing to go ahead and shut down. He's a baseball fan too. And we'll go ahead and say goodnight to everybody. Bones, go ahead and get us out of here with our outro that we've used for a long time now. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week at our regular time, 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central, next Thursday night. I have already booked a guest. This was an extraordinary time. Any future guests, we will have to make arrangements to be early with Ted, the owner of WLFE-DB. So we have to do that on a per show basis. If anybody wants to be early, let me know as soon as you say, wait a minute, the show starts at 11 p.m. Eastern time. That's late. And I will see if Ted will allow us to go early, but I need to know at least early Thursday morning, like Michelle did this morning, or the day before or something. So I can get a hold of Ted, because if I can't get a hold of Ted, we're just going to do a recorded show. I don't know when it will air. So, all right, go ahead, Bones, and get us out of here. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week. Appreciate y'all watching Southern Fried Paranormal. I'm Lynn Dorman, your host, saying goodbye. And our well-known fact here late night, the paranormal never sleeps unless you take a nappy time like I do. Good night, everybody.